Hello, everybody. We're all having a great day. Air, Spidey, say a quick hi.
What's up?
Wakanda forever.
Okay, after that stereotypical intro, good morning, afternoon, evening, or night to everybody, no matter where you may be listening from. We're here to bring you our top 15 Marvel movies. Each of us is going to present our list, and then we're probably going to tell each other how stupid the other two are. And then we'll finally end it, and you guys give your opinions on the Discord server or in the YouTube comments section. Before we do that, we must make a quick tribute. This morning, as of recording, November 20th, 2022, we came across the unfortunate news that the original Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, has passed away. He was an important part of a lot of people's childhoods. He was the longest lasting and will forever be remembered by the people whose childhoods he made awesome.
Yes, he was the longest lasting Power Ranger. He was great. He started off as that bad guy who kicked Jason's ass, Mr. Steal Your Girl. He really loves the character and the community, and it's just so sad to see, especially after recently losing Kevin Conroy to cancer. Now we lose Jason to suicide. It's been an awful few weeks. Um, yeah, damn.
So I am just going to kick it off. We'll start with who wants to go first?
So I'll go first, as you guys know my number 15.
Mhm.
Basically, like King said, we're gonna talk about the movies. If one of us has it higher, we'll skip the conversation until the person who has it ranked higher, and then we'll each go in sets of three. So I'll say my bottom three, then they say their bottom three. That way there's a bit of conversation. So my number 15 is Iron Man.
Honestly, a respectable position to put it at. I do not have it in my top 15.
King, do you have it in your top 15?
To be very specific, I have it at number 8.
Okay. Do you want to have the conversation now, or do you want to wait till we get to your number 8?
I would just say, I don't understand why Air wouldn't put it higher, but I understand why you would put it in the top 15, but in the 10 to 15 section.
Yeah. So for me, this movie obviously, well, for all of us, this movie kicked off the MCU. The post credit scene was the standard that it has followed ever since. It was a good movie overall. It brought the memes. He built that in a cave. I just liked the villain, the introduction of the Shield, Agent Coulson, even Nick Fury in the post credit scene. It was great for the time, but there's so many new movies that have come out, different genres of comic book storytelling, which obviously I find better, and whose experiences when I saw them were significantly better. That's why it's my number 15.
I have a similar sentiment to that. It was the one that started it all. It kind of It started the revolution that the MCU continued with and started the momentum. Back at that era, I wasn't really as like within the first like 5-ish movies, I wasn't really into the MCU, and obviously it's like it wasn't really too connected at the time. So I went into Iron Man. I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool, neat ideas. I don't think it really left too much of an impression on me, and I don't think I even knew that was a post-credit scene until like Avengers was coming around, and then people started like talking about it more and how each of them actually had post-credit scenes like that. Maybe I think around like Thor, maybe I might have noticed it, but like as much as I like Iron Man the character, I don't think I really had too much of an attachment to his movies, his origin story, or his first villain even. I thought Stain was kind of boring. Um
I
and honestly, it's like I think I have part of this could just be because I actually haven't seen the movie in over a decade. So maybe if I went and revisited it, I might have a higher opinion. But generally, I don't look upon the Phase One movies as fondly as some of like the Phase Two movies.
Disgusting. You did mention you did mention Thor. Beautiful segue. My number 14 is Thor. Loved Thor.
All right, go on. Let you finish your thought.
Go for it, man.
I love the introduction of Loki. You sympathize more with him in the movie than you do with Thor, because Thor's an arrogant little shit who you hope gets brought down a peg. and throughout the course of the movie, he's learning and maturing, and just overall, I think it was a great introduction to Thor, to Loki, and again, it builds upon with the first Iron Man, Incredible Hulk to some extent, and Captain America um, brought us, right? It's not the perfect movie, but I'd argue I've enjoyed it just because of the interactions and the connection we see with Thor and Loki, and the impact it has. Knowing what we know now, we see the impact of their connection, and that's where we first see it like actually like grow and develop. All right, so tell me why I'm wrong there.
All right,
I
so called. Yeah, no, you go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
I think 14 is an acceptable place for Thor. It's not my number 14, but I think that the first Thor movie is underrated. I think the cinematography is really good, but at the same time, I do think the story is largely just too generic to give it anything interesting. I do think that the actors were like Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, and Anthony Hopkins were all like really great casting choices, probably some of the best in the MCU, if I'm being completely honest. But I think that the film could have done a lot more interesting things with its premise and setting that it just never did. And therefore, like, while it's serviceable, it's not amazing.
All right, so I'll start with the good. Coulson, some of the Thor moments, some of the humor, enjoyable. Call me a brain-rotted Marvel fan, but this movie just did not capture my interest at all the first time around. And even on rewatches, I might have liked it a little bit more because I'm more familiar with the characters now, but like that movie it was boring the first time around. It just wasn't that interesting to me, the conflict. It probably was actually my least favorite Phase 1 move. Okay, of the first four, it was my least favorite at the time, and my opinion of it hasn't really gotten that much higher for it.
Well, I vehemently disagree because I feel like, bro, we have what's his name, Idris Elba as Heimdall. We have the Asgardians. We have the Cosmic. We have all this
the,
shit being
the
introduced.
the Asgardians that got thrown away aside for like the two that matter.
I mean, to be fair, the directors haven't really been doing their thing, and I'd argue that's Kevin Feige's fault. But anyway, that's fine. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a controversial pick, maybe.
I
Civil War
yeah.
is number 13 for me.
You know what?
Yeah, that would be
I,
controversial for a lot of people.
I in which way? I respect that because I have it at number 11, which
I
is
have
not
it.
that much more.
I have it at number 5.
Okay, so
Jesus. Okay.
I think Spidey has helped because I feel like me and him, or maybe me and someone else with a similar mindset, have talked about this before. Because it used to be like one of my favorite Marvel movies. I'm sorry I'm hijacking it right now, but
No, you're fine.
originally I thought like first time viewing this movie was like peak, but then on rewatch with a friend who didn't like it as much, I realized, wow, the plot of this movie is kind of fucking stupid. In terms of like Zemo, and a lot of it was like very, very specific. And aside from when you see your favorite heroes fighting on screen, the plot really isn't that good. As invested as I am in Cap and Bucky and everything, I just the actual villain of this movie is probably what brings the movie down a few pegs, and the fact that narratively it's not as good as some of the higher entries on my list.
See, I disagree with you there. I mean, it's not higher for me, so I don't.
Yeah,
I get it, but I think Zemo was perfect because he made the Avengers fuck themselves up.
he did.
He was
Yeah,
like, he was like,
but
I'm not gonna fuck y'all up. Fuck
I
that.
think
I ain't
Air is
got
talking about
superpowers.
the practicality of Zemo's plan more so than his
yes,
motivation.
Oh, okay.
I would say
yeah.
Okay.
that I agree with that perspective because I do think that Zemo was a great villain in concept, but the
Mhm.
archetype of his planning was just like that requires a lot of coincidence to like all
Yeah.
work out perfectly. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like I was willing to let that go because it was still better than a lot of villain plans in a lot of other Marvel movies. And just to add one thing to
This is
those who
true.
are listening, when we say that this movie is like peak or top, we're talking about relative to Marvel and superhero movies. We're not talking like relative to like fiction. Okay, that's
He does
just
not speak
not
for
a
all
thing.
of us. I like Marvel movies. They're my favorite movies.
Okay, whatever.
I am Marvel brain rotted.
There's a reason we bring Air onto the podcast because
That is
he's
true. That is a reason why we have.
he's the Marvel shill. He's the one who's getting paid by Marvel.
Exactly.
He was at the
Man, I
Wakanda
wish they were
premiere,
paying
bro.
me.
But for me, the reason it's number 15, 14, 13 is because obviously for me, there's like 12 other movies that are better. I
Yeah.
like the introduction of Spider-Man in the MCU before they butchered him to death, in my opinion. Until
I
No Way Home.
wasn't sold on the introduction, honestly. I thought he was kind of shoehorned in, which he really was.
Oh
But I
no,
still
he
found
was.
him fun.
He was shoehorned in. The directors even said it. They're like, yeah, we totally needed Spider-Man. We probably didn't, but we said we really needed him, so Sony and Marvel could come up with a
I mean, to be
remake.
completely fair, they were probably planning on having Andrew Garfield do it, but obviously
What?
that ended up not going the way they wanted to.
Well,
Plus,
No.
Andrew
yes.
Garfield was supposed to be in the Avengers movie, or
Really?
teased
No,
in the
no.
yeah,
They were considering him for the
teased.
Avengers movie. Yes, teased, but they were more strongly considering like, okay, well, we could bring him in for Civil War, but then obviously he ended up not getting to keep that role at the time.
Yes, yeah. Sony was
I
being
wasn't
little
as deep into
bitches
the
about
rumors
it.
at the time.
No, those were rumors. They were confirmed by someone who worked in the
We knew they
movie.
were getting a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this was like high school era. I remember back then there was like the top casts of Spider-Man. I remember when they were trying to cast him and they confirmed it would be a new one. I don't remember it being Andrew Garfield. I remember someone like my friend was.
It was like they first said like there's going to be a Spider-Man, and they're like, oh, I guess they're going to have Andrew Garfield back. And then
Oh
it's like,
yeah,
oh, no, it's
the
going to be a new
natural
one.
conclusion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because I remember like one of the other top actors in the spot
And
was
I think-
like
I
Asa
think-
Butterfield.
I think maybe, but I think part of the like reasoning for why Spider-Man may have felt shoehorned in because as a new actor is because they had to like rewrite it. Whereas if it had been
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, you don't really have that issue. So a lot of the plot was probably written with the established Spider-Man coming in.
Mhm.
Even if you did write it with a Spider-Man from the start, I feel like it just wouldn't have been natural because this movie at its core was like a Captain America movie, and it just happened to spill into the Avengers because of how the plot went.
But
I don't think there
considering the
was an
nature of the
organic way.
Avengers. It was also Avengers 2.5, if we're being completely
It
honest.
was, yes.
At the same time, I
I
feel like
like.
a natural way for like introducing more Avengers is just having other Avengers go out and bring them in.
Did we have any other actually new characters? Because I feel like other than Spider-Man,
Black Panther.
Oh,
He was in Civil War, which is what I was gonna get to before
yeah.
y'all hijacked it to Andrew Garfield,
Mhm,
which I respect.
Continue.
Perfectly respectable.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's Andrew Garfield. Yeah, I really like the introduction of the Black Panther here. I
Yeah.
like how
Honestly,
he was a badass from the get go.
Chadwick Boseman performance in Marvel. This is better, in my opinion, than his actual Black Panther movie.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I feel it is.
I think
Debatable,
it's about
but
on par. I don't have any strong feelings either way.
they were both good.
They were
But
both
yeah, I
good, for
really
sure.
like
I'm
this.
not disagreeing with that. Yeah.
He was just a super badass in the movie.
Yeah, like they kind of subverted my expectations with him because, like, at the start he's just kind of vengeful, rightfully so because of what happened, and then just kind of like going on rage, mindless rage, and then by the end, he's the reason this movie had a halfway decent resolution. Like he showed
He
up
also
at the
said,
end. Yeah.
don't forget, he also said, "Don't let vengeance consume you," which is something one of his relatives almost let happen. But we'll get more to that later.
Yeah.
So Baron Zemo and his interactions were fantastic. I like that. Like I said, how he was a badass just from the very get go. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck up this Winter Soldier guy. I don't give a fuck if he's your friend, Cap. He's gonna get it. It was just dope. But yeah.
Yeah. And then he learned the errors of his ways and decided to help said soldier.
This is true. Who wants to go next? Who wants to give their bottom three?
I'll jump in. My number 15 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Good movie.
Okay.
I just don't think it was like as good as the other two. I think it was good for what it was trying to be, but a lot of it is, if I'm being completely honest, very boring, and I did not care for the romance as much as they tried to put it in. Although I guess it does have the benefit of establishing it for No Way Home, which we obviously needed when that movie came out. But yeah, acceptable villain, not the best villain.
You said acceptable villain what?
Acceptable villain, but not the best villain.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it goes about like it's like middle of the line for the Spider-Man movies. I put it at number 9 on the overall list. So like
Mm.
so I liked it a little more than Homecoming just because I thought that sequence with Mysterio was some of the coolest shit the MCU's done, and just the special effects and way they
Mhm.
did the conflict was just so cool to me. And I was kind of invested in Peter and his friends and everything. It was just like a nice little movie if you cared about them, and it was a good sequel.
Mm.
But like
Continue.
I do agree what you mean about the romance. It did kind of just they had to do it. I wasn't really sold on it at first, and they kept going with it. I'm like, all right, you know what? And then obviously later movies came out and they fleshed it out a bit more, so I'm sold on it now. But when they first introduced Sagri, it was a little shaky. I was just more invested in all the characters, and then that was post Endgame,
It was,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like that was it came. Wait, yeah, I always
Yeah,
get
it's the
confused.
conclusion to
Yeah,
phase 3.
yeah, I thought it came at a good time and like was just a good all around ride. And yeah, I actually really like Mysterio.
Fair enough.
Mm.
My number
Okay.
14 is
Hold
Guardians of
on.
the
Hey, let me.
What?
Can I not give you input on this
I forgot
atrocious
about you.
movie?
Go on.
I will agree that the CGI in the Spider Sense,
Yeah.
Mhm.
or how he fucking calls it, Spider
Yeah,
Tingle,
Peter Tingle.
stupid ass thing, Peter Tingle, same bullshit. That was fantastic. The ending was fantastic because it sets up No Way Home perfectly.
Mhm.
But this was basically an Iron Man send off. Every few
Ah,
minutes, we're reminded that Iron Man's in it, or Iron Man's the reason Peter
I
is
disagree.
important. The glasses. Mysterio is an iconic Spider-Man villain, and what did we do with Mysterio? You know what? Spider-Man, he don't give a fuck about you. He actually cares about the glasses because Tony Stark did him wrong. Kind of like Vulture. You know, Vulture, who was your villain in the comics, but
Yeah.
not here because fuck you. Um, I just didn't like that. The romance, like you said, that felt shoehorned in more than Spider-Man did in Civil War. Jake Gyllenhaal was good as Mysterio, but this was my issue with most of Marvel Spider-Man movies is they're not Spider-Man villains, they're Iron Man villains, and they're just going after the kid because he's got a connection to Iron Man. And
I don't
this
think
one,
they have to be Spider-Man villains because he is like kind of a no-name, and in this bigger world where, like, in order for someone to actually hate him specifically, there needs to be like something at work. He's just this kid who's been keeping his head low all this time for the most part, so I can kind of find it believable that he doesn't have any direct villains yet.
I mean, yeah,
no,
but at the
that's
same time,
fair.
the original Spider-Man movies had that exact same issue, and they all had original villains.
Yeah.
But
My
like,
issue is they specifically focused on making them Iron Man centric villains. They could have just been villains for the
I
sake
mean,
of being
I
villains.
would argue less so with the case of Vulture, but I agree with Mysterio.
That's fair.
I'd argue with Mysterio. He like specifically targeted Spider-Man though, because he knew that he was
He
his
had the
way in.
glass.
So like,
Yeah.
it's
No, he knew that he had the glasses that
Mhm.
Tony built,
I
and he
think you're
didn't
a
care
little
about.
fixated on it because like it's kind of like it's like Tony Stark was a father figure for Spider-Man. So of course it's not gonna be like it's not gonna be an Iron Man movie in my opinion, but it's like he was a big part of his life. So it's more about Peter trying to move on and the impact that he had on Peter's life because he did help set him up. But I feel like compared to Homecoming, it had more of a focus on what Peter has to do now and moving him on from that character.
Mm, I can see where you're coming from. I just felt
Mhm.
again, this is just personal opinion because I
Yeah.
feel, yeah, Tony, it was a huge part,
Mhm.
but so was his Aunt May, so was Happy Hogan, and all these other. Well, there was another character who was a
Yeah,
part
like
of
I
it.
feel like Happy had more of an impact in this movie specifically than Tony, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, on the actual
I just
plot,
felt,
yeah, but that's because Happy was in
Yeah, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it just felt like that's fine if you don't want to make Spider-Man villains, but they specifically made it so Mysterio is connected to Tony Stark, which is like he could have just been like he's just a criminal who's trying to get filthy rich, kind
I
of like
feel like that made
Vulture.
more personal to Spider-Man though, because like
But it
otherwise
was
he's just a rando.
but it was personal because of Tony, not because
Yeah.
it was a connection to him. Which again is my issue. They focus too much on Iron Man with Peter Parker, which is why a lot of people saw him as like Iron Man Jr. And then even in No Way Home, they do the little reference with the Time magazine scene where it's like, oh, Iron Man Jr.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
crying. So that was I'm glad they referenced it because for the longest time I did feel like Iron Man was the reason Spider-Man was a thing, but we know that Spider-Man's smart because he built his own web fluids, and he built his own suit, even though it was like a makeshift suit. So I just felt like they were disrespecting the character of Spider-Man by making him so connected and so focused on Iron Man, which is my biggest issue with Far From Home. The special effects towards the end when he's fighting Mysterio, which is something you've already discussed,
Yeah.
was fucking amazing. I love the way they use the spider sense. But for the love of God, please don't fucking call it Peter Tingle. Don't call it the blip.
Yeah, I
Don't
don't
call
like
it
that
what.
name.
Yeah,
What's wrong
those
with
two
the
names
blip?
are like.
I can't believe it's so.
My wife's like chef's kiss. No, but yeah. Well, what's your other movie, King?
Number 14 was Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. I do think it's good. I just
Really?
don't think it's as good as people made it out to be. I found it, largely boring and juvenile, even by Marvel standards. And I'm
Out of
sure that you
curiosity,
guys
where's 2 on
have
your
it higher,
list?
much higher. But I'll get to that later.
Really?
Yeah, much higher.
Wait, hold on. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is above Guardians of the Galaxy 1?
By a large measure,
That's
yes.
What?
Yeah,
You're weird.
I
You're
agree.
very weird.
You've known this for years.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't know. I just
six,
met you
7.
like 2 months
Okay,
ago, man.
fair enough. But Spidey, you've known me for years and all the controversial fairy tale opinions and whatnot.
Guardians of the Galaxy for me is number 8.
It's number 7 for me. High five, man.
Hey, we agree. We have the same wavelength. Bro,
Yeah.
it was fucking fantastic. We
Yeah.
start off.
I think it has
The beginning is
very good
depressing.
points. I think that the villain stunk. I thought he was horrible. I thought a lot of the characters were just like very one note and didn't get developed enough until the sequel. Which is why
This
I like
was
the
when
sequel
you didn't
more.
watch Marvel movies for the villains. You watched Marvel
Bro.
movies for the heroes.
That's debatable. We had some good villains back then.
90% of the villains in Marvel are ass. What the fuck do you want about, bro?
I wanted a
I
better
like
villain.
the fight. I did like the fight because, motherfucker, we got some footloose up in that bitch. Fucking dance off.
I was okay with that part. I didn't care one way or the other. I thought the space
This
fight
movie
was
is just
good.
it's like a classic and it set the precedent for like Marvel
I
going
thought it
into
was just
space.
trying too hard to be like an Indiana Jones, Flash Gordon type of thing. I
didn't get those vibes at all.
I did. Bro, I don't know what the fuck you smoking.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, I haven't
Get checked
smoked today,
because
but yeah.
Indiana Jones. What the fuck?
I mean,
the fucking opening
mostly with the
sequence.
way he's dressed, though. You get where I'm coming from.
Okay, I'll give you the where he's dressed, but like other than that, there was we get introduced to Gamora and Thanos, like fully
I thought Gamora
introduced
was
to
very one
Thanos.
note.
Was she though? She had some
think so.
character to her.
She did.
Nah, not that much. She got better in the sequel with like direct fights with Nebula.
I would
and stuff.
argue even the whole "We Are Groot" scene at the end of the movie was fucking bad.
We are
Like
the
motherfucker.
That was
No.
okay. I wasn't.
We are the Flash.
I wasn't a big fan of. I don't like We Are the Flash, and I didn't think We Are Groot was that special.
You don't have a soul, my boy. That's what I'm hearing here.
Whatever, man. Number 14
Like
is that.
And
I could
then
understand
Drax
putting this movie lower, but like this movie is just so much of a core classic to the entire franchise. I just couldn't put it below top 10.
And don't forget, we have Drax, who's just fucking hysterical.
I don't care for
It's
Drax.
one of the most easily rewatchable movies.
I've seen it like twice. That's it. Like,
I've seen it like 4 times.
I think I've rewatched the sequel more actually.
Well,
I've seen the sequel only once.
I only saw it twice because I was trying to watch through like all the movies that mattered for Endgame with my cousin who hadn't seen most of them, and she liked Guardians of the Galaxy 1, so I was like, all right, well, you gotta watch 2 then.
Yeah, you kind of do have to.
You were like, fuck, now I have to watch the second one.
No, that's exactly what I went. I was like, all right.
Yeah, you weird. You. What was your? So you have.
Far From Home at 15. Number 14 is Guardian of the Galaxy, and number 13 was the first Doctor Strange.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
One thing we have in common is that our ranking for Doctor Strange both have 3s in them.
Oh, you have it at number 3?
Hell yeah!
Nah, but go on.
It is one of my favorite all-time Marvel movies of all time. When I first saw it, it became an instant favorite for me. It's the one I've seen the most amount of times. I just loved all the special effects. Benedict Cumberbatch was so great in it. Just it was the peak of Marvel at the time for me. That was when Phase 3 was going strong, and like, oh, so good.
I like the movie a lot. It's my number 4. I
Yeah.
like how it was different than
Mhm.
most Marvel movies because you actually see the main character be like completely wrecked in the
Yep.
first half of the movie, trying to figure out his life. Like, dude, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Then we have what's the homegirl's name? Who
Christine?
the ancient one?
Oh, the
Tilda
Ancient
Swinton.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton. She or they? I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, I think she's,
Would they go
female.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. But I don't know. Okay. Fair. Still, this one thing. They were great as the ancient one. They really
Mhm.
helped Doctor Strange just figure out what he wants. Mads Mikkelsen was in it as well, if I'm
He
not
was. He
mistaken.
was.
Yeah, he was the villain.
That's why I
Well,
put
other
it
than
lower.
Dormammu.
I didn't think he was a very good villain.
I thought Dormammu was the villain.
But he only shows up for like 5 minutes at the end.
He was more like a force of nature
Yeah.
than a villain, you know?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like, bro. This is the introduction of Wong. My God, how the fuck you have in that top 10?
Right?
It's
I like Wong, but I don't like him that much in this movie. I like him more later.
you don't like the Wongers. It's okay,
I
bro.
like
It's
Wong, it's just not in this particular movie as much.
okay.
I
So
like
me
the
and
Beyonce
Air
scene.
basically like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Certified classic
yeah.
right here.
Me and Air have like one rank difference between most of these movies. It's interesting.
Yep.
Um, okay, so what's
Bottom,
Air? Now it's
go for airs.
All right,
yes,
so
sir.
I'm not gonna lie, my number 15 is just kind of like a wobble spot. That could have been like a lot of movies, and I just kind of went with this one because, so 15, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Actually,
thought it was
I thought
like,
about putting it there.
it's like, it's enjoyable and very middle of the road as far as Marvel movies go. And I just like the Ant-Man cast of characters a lot. So even though I haven't really watched the movie more than once, I still like enjoy just what it did and what the characters were. So that's like number 15 for me.
Okay. Um, I just didn't like the villain,
Yeah,
the
I
ghost.
think that was my biggest
I thought
gripe.
she was an
That
okay
was
villain. I thought that it was not the typical angry Marvel villain like beatdown fight. It was just like another person who could have been the protagonist of their own story, just trying to like get their shit done.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
felt
don't
like
know.
this
It
was
just
definitely more of like a kids Marvel movie, like a Home Alone type of thing. Not that childish,
Mhm.
but like something that's very safe and family friendly, which I was okay with.
fair.
And
What
yeah.
is your number 14, Mr. Air?
So my number 14 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Ooh, okay.
Yo.
Have that
So
one
like,
higher.
part of the problem for me is I just like so many of the older movies more because I've just been with them longer. So it's like I like this movie enough for it to penetrate the top 15, which I don't like for like recency. Actually, you know what? This is hypocritical. I say this, so I'm not gonna finish that sentence. So like, so, so this movie did penetrate the top 15 for me. I just liked other movies more because they came first. That's simply it.
Fair enough.
That's fair. For me, it's number 5.
It's just respectable. I can totally
You
see why it's
said
up there.
what kind of
I
Forever was your number 5?
Yes, number 5.
Gotcha. It's number
The
9
more
for
I
me.
think, the more I think about it, the more I process the movie, the more I fall in love with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe it's because fucking my coach is finally represented in a way which isn't stereotypical or like gang affiliated or shit like that.
Mhm.
But the Talocan is based on an ancient Aztec underwater paradise for people who die drowning. Uh, Namor and his origin and how it's like He's the kid who wasn't loved, and just all this bullshit that was like introduced was fucking amazing. And then we have in Wakanda's side where we have Shuri and she's developing, and it's just an incredible movie overall. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think we've said all we need to about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
I think so.
Yeah. So then number 13, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, good God. Okay.
So like, I really liked the second two Thor movies, but I don't know, like, I wanted to put Love and Thunder above Ragnarok because I genuinely enjoyed it more. But then the problem started to be that like having both in the top 15 was kind of like too much real estate for Thor to have. So that's the only reason Thor Ragnarok isn't in my top 15. Because at the time I really enjoyed it. I've rewatched it only like once or twice, and I think it was best on the first viewing, but it's still a solid movie over all around. I'm pretty sure it's definitely a fan favorite because it's just kind of like
It's very high
Guardians
up
of the
for
Galaxy
me.
Magic for Thor. Yeah.
Oh shit! Actually, I just realized
I-
something funny. You know how you said your Doctor Strange is number 3 and it's 13 for me?
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok is number 3 for me.
Mm, yeah. I liked it a lot. I like both movies a lot. I just liked Love and Thunder a bit more. Just narratively, it hit me a little more. Ragnarok was a little more like into the comedy, and I did like the comedy too. It's just both are solid movies, but I like the other ones more on the list. That's just how the bottom like 5 of my list goes, honestly.
fair enough.
So let's talk about 11 and 12.
Yep, 11 and 12. I'll go first. Um, Captain America: The First Avengers, number 12 for me.
I think
Just
it's
like the
underrated.
introduction. I do believe it's severely underrated. Um, it's campy, it's cheesy, but it's just fun. Like you get introduced to Steve Rogers and what he's going through,
Mm-hmm.
and like everything he loses and everything he sacrifices just to become this superhero, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the villain, we get introduced to Red Skull, which was good. The villain, he was one of the better villains, at least early on.
Bro, he was just a literal Nazi, like.
Hey, bro, that's the best. You know, if you can't make a good villain, you can't make a Nazi a good villain, then you shouldn't be making movies. So I'm glad they stuck the landing on that. Um, but yeah, it was just good. It wasn't great, but like Thor for me, it's just severely underrated and
Mm-hmm.
just like that. What do you guys thoughts? Or do you guys have it on your list?
No.
No, but I mean, I think it's very respectable to have it there.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So, like, Captain America: The First Avenger was like when I first watched it, my least favorite Marvel movie, and that's partially just because I don't really like war movies. So I was kind of just bored with my first one. I was also a kid, so like I couldn't appreciate it at the time. I went back after watching Winter Soldier, and when I had more of an appreciation for Captain America's character, 'cause let's be honest, I didn't respect him at all in Phase One. It's like only near the end of the first Avengers movie I was like kind of starting to get him and respect him a bit because before he's kind of a joke to me.
Fair enough, fair.
But yeah, it's like in hindsight, it's a solid movie. It's not my favorite. It's not my one of my favorites.
It also showed he was smart because the one scene that I remember is like, if you get that flag, you get a ride in the car, and everybody's like trying to pull up to it, and he's like, "Fuck that shit! Just pull the pin, flag, the pole falls, take it. All right, cool, we good." I liked his introduction as a character because it made him similar to Superman, but not similar in the sense because like it showed you what he was all about.
Yeah,
Number 11. Marvel's The Avengers.
I'm so glad you put it that low.
I have it much higher.
Wait, what do you say there?
So it's not even in my top 15.
Hey, bro, don't feel bad. I don't have Endgame in my top 20.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you go for it first. It's your list.
Fair enough. All right, so yeah, Marvel's The Avengers. I really loved everything about it.
Hmm.
We get the core team: Thor, Hulk, recast Hulk, um, Loki, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye. Get all of them. I really liked how there's tension amongst them because you would think, oh, it's a superhero team up, they're gonna all get
Hmm.
along right away, and it's like, nah, these fuckers genuinely dislike each other at times. You have Captain America and oh boy, Tony Stark just talking mad shit about each other,
Hmm.
and it's like, damn, this shit sounds real. Like you fuckers really hate each other, and then when good old Coulson dies
Hmm.
or dies based on Agents of Shield, right? It just helped solidify the team. It
Hmm.
brought us a new threat. It introduced us to Thanos or
Hmm.
Thanos, however you want to call him. Um,
Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah, it was great. We see Tony Stark actually being a hero and not an arrogant little shit. He almost killed himself.
I don't know. He was an
Uh,
arrogant little shit for like 90% of the movie.
oh, I mean, yes, he was, but at the end, he laid
Yeah.
down that sacrifice play that
Hmm.
Captain America said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good movie overall. I really liked it, but there's obviously 10 other movies that I enjoyed way more than
Yeah.
this one. Uh, King, go ahead. You said it was much higher on your list.
All right, so I'll go. Yeah, so like I think maybe I was a little bit unfair to it, so I'm gonna adjust it and say, and we're gonna kick Ant-Man and the Wasp off 15. We're gonna put Avengers there. Um, so like at the time, it was probably one of my favorite movies of all time, just because you've never seen a movie that does something like that to that scale,
Mhm.
and it was just interesting and insane and kicked off Phase 2, which is I think the biggest gift that Avengers gave us.
And don't
Um,
forget, it did it successfully because DC tried it with Justice League and felt miserably.
Yeah. So like it was great. Rewatching it recently, I don't think it's held up and aged as well as I wanted it to, because it definitely feels like a 2000s movie rather than like a 2010s and 2022s movie. Um, but it did very innovative things for its time, and it was a delight to watch back when MCU was still underground, you know? But
Hmm.
I think the MCU's pumped out better movies since then.
Dude, and the fucking score when we get introduced to
Oh,
Iron Man with ACDC and he's like, he's just fucking shit up.
mm-hmm,
Or when was it? Yeah, when Captain America's on the plane and Thor and Iron Man are fighting, and
mm-hmm.
Black Widow's like that he's a literal god. He's not my god, man. And then he just dives down. Or the fucking score for the
Yep.
Avengers theme.
So
The
yeah, the
Yeah, I
Avengers
don't.
beat Alan Silvestri.
Yes, sir. That shit was fantastic. I might. You
Mm-hmm.
know what? No, I'm still keeping it at number 11.
Yeah.
It's 11 or 10. I'll consider it.
There
King, are
was a
you
period
there?
of time where I went around saying it was my favorite movie. And I think that's just because I hated the idea of picking a favorite movie. Before Avengers, I used to go around saying Transformers just because I grew up on Transformers cartoon and seeing it on the big screen, people being hyped out is crazy. So like Avengers was almost kind of similar. Um, and yeah,
Fair,
everyone loved
fair.
that movie, so it's just easy to say it's your favorite.
And I think King is dead.
No, I'm not dead.
Yeah, shame. Oh, there we go. All right.
Oh,
I was just muted. So,
so talk about Avengers and why it's higher on your list.
I mean, honestly, there's just nothing I would change about the Avengers movie. I think it was perfect in every way that it was going for. There are other things that other movies just did better, and that's why those other movies are higher up. But
Mhm.
that's basically like I think the Avengers hit all the points that it needed to. I do think it's held up well. I mean, I think the special effects still look relatively solid even 10 years later. And I think the
Mhm.
conflicts were all perfectly reasonable and did what exactly they were able to do with what they had worked within and established so far. I mean, I think if you think about it, a lot of Phase One films, in my opinion, are very weak. But the Avengers just
Yeah.
took all of their best points and put them into one movie, and that's why it's great.
Yeah.
Proceeds to say they're very weak when I have 3 of the 4 in my top 15. Rude,
I think
very
I think
rude.
they are weak compared to a lot of other later movies that had more to work with. I don't think they're bad,
Mhm.
but I do think
Yeah.
that there are aspects of them. Even I like the first Thor movie, I like the first Captain America movie, but there are ways that could have been better. But I think the Avengers
Yeah.
took those
Um,
aspects and made them a lot better.
Mhm.
fair enough. And this was before Joss Whedon was a creep.
Yeah.
Before
So,
we
oh,
knew
we
he
found out he
was a
was a creep.
creep.
Yeah. Let me reword that. Yeah, before we knew he was a creep.
Mhm.
All right, King, you want to give your number 12?
Sure, probably lower on the list, I'm sure, than your guys's, but number 12 for me is the first Black Panther movie. I do think it,
Oh, you're out your fucking mind.
yeah, I
Yeah,
thought so.
it's not my top 15.
What?
It's not my top 15.
Oh, really?
Oh my
I
god.
thought you would have had it like number 6 or something.
Nah, see, like, I think it came too late for me because, like, I do have like a lot of like origin stories in my top 10, like first movies.
Mhm.
But like, it didn't strike a chord with me as much, and also I have like a little bit of like salt because I went and watched it a weekend before an exam, and then I did badly on the exam.
Oh, fair enough. I'll tell in a second. I'll tell the story about how I watched it. But I think the movie is good. I think all the performances are good. I just think that it's very overrated. I think a lot of the
Mhm.
aspects that people praise it for are actually not as original as they claim. And like I hear this like all the fucking
Yeah.
time. It's like, oh, I love it because it talks about X and Y. It's like, here's my thing. Just because a movie talks about X doesn't mean that it's providing a nuanced point of view on X. Doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
original in any way or that it's offering, valid, usable solutions. It's not necessarily it's just saying stuff for the sake of saying stuff that you agree with, and that's why you like it. Which is fine if you like it, but that
Breathe.
doesn't mean that the movie is
Breathe.
amazing in that context. What? I'm fine. I'm fine.
No, I'm just saying, breathe, because you sound a little heater in there. But chill.
Whatever.
They're not here to hurt you. They're not here
It's
to hurt you.
okay.
Whatever. And, yeah, but like otherwise, I do think the movie like is pretty decent. Like I think with some of the special effects
Yeah.
shots, I think this is where we see in general in Marvel like a lot of special effects in the third acts of movies
Yeah.
tended to start like kind of falling apart, just because they maybe had too many in there and they didn't get all the time. And obviously now we know a little bit more about how their special effects studios have been overworked and such. So hopefully they can resolve that for future movies. But yeah, I think this was one of the ones where it started becoming a little bit more obvious, partly because
Mhm.
the actual like stuff in it, like around the battle, like just the physical fights, those were like pretty good. Like I think I think
Yeah.
most people will agree with this. The first fight between T'Challa and Killmonger with the spear and shield in the river was way
Mhm.
better than the final fight with them in the suits in the train area, tumbling and shit, looking like the fucking Tron or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually like
I
the
eat that shit up, so like
DLC.
I don't know. I do like.
Uh,
Mhm.
Do you like it
no, go
more
ahead.
than the
Go
first
ahead.
fight?
I like
I,
it. I
I
like it
never
the same
thought about it.
amount.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I mean, fair enough. I don't know. I think the first fight was so much cooler and way more like, holy shit, that one actually had me like on the edge of my seat, like, damn, all that like fucking cutting and crap. But yeah, that's my number 12.
So yeah. So Eric doesn't have it on his list. You have it at 12. I have it at 3. So it's
Oh,
a very
okay.
interesting 3 we have there.
Yeah.
All ends of the
Yeah, just
spectrum right there.
exactly. I would say this though. I really like Killmonger as a character. Homie straight up kills his girlfriend. Straight up kills Ulysses Claw, who we thought he was gonna be a big deal because of old Age of Ultron. It's like, nah, this fucker's dead right away. I like the obviously you mentioned this. It's been done in different mediums before and in different movies, but I like the way they went about just talking about. It felt very Magneto to Charles when the with Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan's characters, T'Challa and Killmonger. It felt like they were two ends of the spectrum, even though they were both agreeing that they should help their people. And I like the fights, and I like how they gave Killmonger a Vegeta type suit.
Mm.
So yeah,
Oh yeah.
From my understanding, Michael B. Jordan is a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so I'm sure he had a role in
yes,
that.
he requested it. Yeah,
There
he
you go.
requested that shit.
Air, what's
All
your number
right,
12?
what is your number?
So my number 12 is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Fucking, of course it is.
I like the movie a lot. I like Doctor Strange. It's not in the top 10.
Um,
I don't want.
so
Can we
that
just
was
skip?
a
I don't.
movie.
I don't even want to debate that one with him.
It's just the WandaVision movie. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yo, I just like Doctor
Uh,
Strange, man.
that's fair. Um. So yeah, that
Yep.
was a nice conversation. It was number 12. King, did you give your 11 already?
I didn't, but do you want to go first, or
Oh, I already gave my 11.
Yeah,
what,
he
was
did.
your 11?
Avengers.
Marvel's The Avengers.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, my number 11 is the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Generally, a really
Brother.
solid movie, but I do think it had some similar problems to Black Panther, with stuff kind of falling apart at the third act, and not just even in the special effects area, but I felt like the final conflict with the father had like a very pat resolution, where I feel like it should have been a lot better done. The martial arts stuff is like fantastic. I think that was like very entertaining. All the stuff in the bus was like pretty solid. But yeah, no, I thought the movie was good, entertaining, good enough to like watch on like Disney Plus again. Probably not if you're trying to get someone into Marvel, unless they have like a very specific affinity for like East Asian culture and stuff. I probably wouldn't recommend this movie, but it's still generally good.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you were talking about Black Panther, I was kind of thinking immediately, like, with those two fights you were talking about, my mind went to Shang-Chi. I do feel similarly, that the early scenes were, like, with the martial arts were really good and interesting, but even though it does become, like, CG fest at the end, I still kind of enjoyed that, and Shang-Chi's, like, at number 8 for me. So
My boy.
similar-ish position, but yeah, it's like, I just it's probably like it's one of my actually wait, let me look at the list. Yeah, so it's like it's my second most favorite Phase 4 movie. Um and I just liked the vibes, the music choices were good, the characters were fun, the movie was
Mm-hmm.
great, it was like a good origin story. And I know what you mean about it not being a good intro to Marvel, but that's only because it doesn't really have much to do with Marvel at all. Um
It's a standalone by most
Yeah.
yeah,
aspect. I
I
mean,
just thought it was a really
besides
better.
the
Mhm.
besides the fight scene, where we meet Abomination and Wong, and then the Black Widows and all that,
Yeah, it had like
it's
a
very
effort to
standalone-ish.
suck in. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
a little more subtle, and I really found the villain compelling. Like, I think
Yes.
he might have been my favorite Marvel
He
villain,
is
just
really
because I
good.
haven't really thought
I
about that.
think he's a good villain. I just felt like his resolution was very, you know, felt
I know what
glanced
you mean.
over at the end in favor of that
I
giant soul monster.
mhm.
So
I
Monster
liked it.
fucked them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's number 6.
Oh,
Homie fucks shit up in Jordans at the end, bro. Like
yeah,
you,
right.
you know, I like, and then he does the. I like how Aquafina, I forgot her character's name. She's like, yeah, he did some Dragon Ball Z shit
Yeah.
Yeah.
and messed everything up. I was like, you know what? This is the second time, or that was the first time Talocan's hand gesture. Second time they're
I don't think they were the
referencing Dragon
same
Ball
thing.
Z. No, I'm saying they're referencing Dragon Ball Z type shit.
No, I mean, is the Talocan thing
Oh,
a
but
Dragon Ball Z reference?
well, the
No.
Kamehameha goes like that, doesn't it?
No, I
I
think the
think some
With
of
the
Kamehameha
the
is like more downwards and to the side, whereas like the Talocan thing is like more
uh,
to the
it
front
starts
of
in
your
the
head.
front and then goes downward to the side. But like I think
yeah.
the problem is half the people in that movie were doing it one way and half were doing it another way. So the people were doing like Dragon Ball. There were people like that, but other people had their hands more separated. So it's like
Some of
Yeah, you also
them are
hunch over
clearly
with the
One Piece
Dragon Ball one,
fans.
but I don't know.
yeah,
Point is, there's some DBZ references that are like, yeah, like you guys said, I really love the bus sequence.
yeah,
That shit
dude.
hooked me right away.
And then
I
like
was like, holy fuck.
I saw like YouTube
God.
videos of how they did some of the special effects and scenes for that shit, and it was crazy. Like man,
And we have a reference to the guy in Spider-Man Homecoming who tells him
hmm
to do a flip, and
yeah.
he's in the bus, and then
hmm
it makes Iron Man 3 relevant and useful,
Yeah.
something it
Oh my
wasn't.
God. Yeah. Like when I first saw Iron Man 3, I really liked that movie. Like that was like one of the movies I was like most hyped for back then, because I did like Iron Man, and even though none of the Iron Man movies are in my top 15, 3 was like I got a poster for that movie from like the Disney Rewards thing. Like I was hyped for that movie. Um, but then it's like they didn't do the Mandarin right,
Some,
'Cause
yeah,
I
we
still
don't talk
enjoyed
about
the
that.
movie even though they didn't. But like, I grew up on Iron Man Armored Adventures. I didn't grow up on it, but like I watched it like a little bit before that movie was announced. So I was like, "Yo, the Mandarin is sick." I would imagine seeing that on the big screen. Then we didn't get that. And sure, this
I-
was different, but this was better in my opinion.
It was different, but it's like the Mandarin. I guess the character overall had like racial undertones or
Yeah.
racist. So they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna act like that doesn't exist." I
Mhm.
didn't like what the trailers for Iron Man 3 were one of the greatest trailers ever.
Yeah.
And then the
Right.
movie came out,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, go.
Honestly, I know this is wrong, but I'm still gonna say it. It was my favorite Iron Man movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't really because he wasn't really in the Iron Man suit, but that's fair.
Mhm.
But yeah, Shang-Chi kind of rebooted that Mandarin aspect, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll forgive Iron Man 3 because we got old boy over here
Yeah.
and his little headless turkey. All right, Aaron, what is your number 11?
Civil War Captain America.
Civil War. Oh yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
this already.
Yep.
Civil
Fair enough.
War. Cap.
Okay, what are our number 10s?
Mm-hmm. Ant-Man for me.
First one?
Yes, sir.
That's my number 4.
Oh, that's not in my top
My
15.
boy. I was gonna put it higher, but I was like, I have too many standalones up in
Like,
here.
I thought that, but like Ant-Man is like almost on the same level as Doctor Strange. That's just a time when I was really into the MCU, and those two movies are just so ubiquitous. You can show them to anyone, and they'll like them. And I just love the like humor and comedy of Ant-Man, and just like it was a good movie. I liked it.
And don't forget, Baskin Robbins sees everything. What was the character's name? Asian Jim. What was his character's name?
Jimmy Woo?
uh,
Woo, yeah, bro. That's our
mhm.
introduction to
What
Woo.
wasn't he in the? He didn't he get introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp? I don't think he was in the first one.
Was
Loki, I got no idea who we're talking about.
no, I think he was. Yeah, no, he was in the first one because remember he was under house arrest.
That was the second one.
He was under house arrest in the first one too, though. Fucking who
No.
cares? Anyway, I don't remember. It's fine. Number 10 is Ant-Man for me because Michael Pena's character was fucking hilarious.
He was
Yeah.
pretty good.
I like the post-credit scene where it's basically Michael Pena telling him like what happened. Uh, unless I'm remembering wrong. And yeah, I just liked it a lot. Not much more to add.
hmm
Had comedy, action, and bro, it made me fall in love with a fucking ant. When Antony dies,
Yeah, right.
bro, I was like shedding tears for this fucking ant. I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, man, I didn't like this thing at first, but it's always been there for him.
Exactly. My number 9 is Thor Ragnarok.
Respectable.
Uh, yeah, it's your points about Love and Thunder. Well, that's for me. That for me is Thor Ragnarok. It introduced
Mhm.
us Valkyrie. It reintroduced us to the Hulk,
hmm
Loki, and then just the humor overall. I felt like it was a lot. There was a lot less humor than there was in Love and Thunder,
hmm
but I felt
Really?
like it hit more. I
hmm
feel like there was set moments where there was humor, whereas in Love and Thunder, it felt like it was like all over the place.
That's funny. I feel like more the opposite.
That's fair.
Yeah.
They were
They're
both great movies, so
yeah.
yeah.
They're both packed with humor. They're both great.
Yeah. I mean, they did help remove the stench of Dark World. If we're being honest.
We don't need to talk about that. Like, we don't need to acknowledge its existence.
That's fucking funny. King, any thoughts on Ragnarok?
I have that one at number 3.
Oh, that's right. Damn, bro, our number threes are Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Thor.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, and obviously number 8 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy. King saying it's number 14. He's out of his mind. We've already discussed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. King, what's your number 10, sir?
Number 10 is Homecoming. I think
Same.
oh, okay, awesome. My number, so I think Homecoming is
Yeah.
just like a quintessential kind of Spider-Man movie relative to the
Yeah.
parts where Spider-Man's doing Spider-Man things. I do understand the
Yep.
criticisms that a lot of people have of the whole Iron Man connection, but relative to the MCU, I feel like they just had to do what they can based on what they built in Homecoming. I think that there are a lot of like,
100%.
well, not in the middle, but like those aspects that are like very debatable about like how involved should Happy have been, and for the most part, I actually think he learned his lesson, which is why he's more involved in Far From Home. But
Yeah.
I didn't have any major issues with Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it does play it very safe, but I think it's fine.
Yeah. I have nothing to add. That's it.
Cool. Number 9.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna go ahead and say a couple of them because we've passed a bunch of mine now. So I did Spider-Man: Homecoming was my number 10. Far From Home was my number 9. Shang-Chi was my number 8. 7 was Guardians of the Galaxy. So we're up to number 6 for me. So let me know when we get back there.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Number 8 was Far From Home.
Number 9 was Far From Home.
Oh, my bad. Number 8.
Shang-Chi.
That's right. And
Guardians of the
which
Galaxy.
one?
7.
Damn.
For me, number 9 is
Okay,
Wakanda Forever. I'll just get those out of the way quick. When Wakanda Forever, I thought it was just like generally really solid. Love Namor, love the conflicts. Number 9 for me was Wakanda Forever. Number 8 was the first Iron Man movie. To me, one of the quintessential Marvel movies. Still, I think the best way. Obviously it's the first one, but still the best way to get someone introduced into Marvel. Dude, like the fucking like Iron Man suit in that movie still looks so realistic. If you like go back and watch it, like you still think it's there, even though it's like obviously CG. They just put so much effort into it because like if it didn't succeed, they were going to go bankrupt. So like, okay, we got to make this good, and they made it very good in my opinion. So
Improvises half of the script.
I mean, that's just
and guess what?
thing.
Yeah.
And guess what? The studio company that did the VFX is bankrupt. I'm just kidding.
Are they actually?
I don't know. Most of them are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to
Not
look
a
that up
lucrative
because I'm
business.
not certain about that.
So what is your number?
My
10?
number,
What's your number 7?
number 7 is the first Avengers movie, but I talked about that earlier, so I'm not going to get more in depth into it. I think it was just what I
Let
said.
me go with. Yeah, fair. I'll go with my number 7. Yeah, right. 10, 9, 8, 7. My number 7. Avengers: Infinity War.
Number 7 is it Infinity War for you? Okay,
We're gonna punt that one for later.
I got it higher.
Yeah, we're gonna punt
Fair
that
enough.
one.
Well, yeah, we're gonna put that. Yeah.
Yo.
I know.
Okay, I
I
just looked. ILM did the VFX for the first Iron Man movie, and they are most definitely not bankrupt.
Yeah, I was about to say I've heard of them.
Yeah,
which is saying something.
they're kind of important in the industry.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. My number 6 is Shang-Chi. We've already discussed this.
Yeah.
We all have it at different levels. One of us has it at 11. One of us
Honestly,
at 8.
I could have Shang-Chi at number 6 too. I just wanted to give respect to the two above it because like they came first.
Fair
and,
enough.
like, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, Shang-Chi's a good movie, bro.
It is.
It is. Look, Aquafina's character, she's useless as fuck most of the movie.
Yeah.
And then she hits that shot, and you're like, "Yo, bro, that's when like that scrub comes off the bench and hits that game winner." And you're like, "That's what's up."
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. Okay. My number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, number 5 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And then I'll just stop there because even though we've discussed the other ones, I'll let you guys go. What's your number 6, King?
My number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the sequel that we were talking about earlier. I have it much higher than the original. I just
You want to elaborate on that?
I just feel like it did
Please do.
everything that the first movie did better. And I think Ego was a fantastic villain. I thought the end scene in particular with Yondu's funeral was like actually one of the most moving Marvel things that they've ever done. And I don't think they're going to top it like anytime soon.
It was a good scene. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not better than the Mary Poppins scene, bro.
I mean,
I'm
No,
Mary
no,
Poppins,
that is
yo.
what
that's
he's
still the
talking
same
about.
movie, though.
Oh wait, yeah, no, yeah.
No, I know it is. I'm just
I like
saying
that too, but like, I'm just
that
talking about
scene
like
in
the
that movie.
poignantness of it. Don't get me wrong, I love the Mary Poppins shit.
All right, fair enough. So you thought the characters had more depth. It was more fun,
Yeah,
more
and I
poignant.
think the
Scene at the end.
we know that famous Avengers shot of the six of them in New York where the camera circles around. I just think that this one did the same thing, just better. Obviously, they have more tech to help them be better, but this was. I think that scene's great. The music is fantastic in the background as well.
Yeah, the soundtrack didn't hit as hard as the first one for me.
I
The
think it's less
humor was
nostalgic than the
there.
first one, but I think that's
Yeah,
honestly for the better.
yeah.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka. Sorry, I don't want to get demonetized. It's not like we can make
I don't
money
think it
off
would
this.
have happened if we just
But yeah.
sang it. I've sang.
Maybe it's so off tone that they're like, I don't think he's singing.
Probably just sounds like some elephant outside crushing a car.
Air, what is your number 6, sir?
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I was really sad when I saw this was no longer top 5.
What?
It hurt me.
No, you're
It hurt my soul, man. This used to be like
oh,
top 2, top 3, but like, man,
Captain America. Captain America: The Winter Soldier for me is top 2, bro.
it should have been, yeah, but like, man.
All right. I'm gonna punt this conversation for later. King, where is Captain America: Winter Soldier on your
It's not
list?
on it.
Oh, you fucking
Oh
wow.
my god, what is wrong with
I
you?
just think this movie is so
Oh
fucking
my god.
overrated. Like, probably not as
Oh my
overrated as Black
My
god.
Panther,
god.
because I do
Hey,
think Black
hey,
Panther is
hey, this
No.
incredible.
deserves to be higher
But
just because of what he said. This deserves to be
Honestly,
higher just because of what he
by all
said.
means, I think that the
God.
movie is better when it raises questions than it does have answers, because it really doesn't have any answers. I think the movie is basically what if you took Mission Impossible and stuck Marvel characters into it.
bro, I fucking love Mission
I like
Impossible.
Mission Impossible too,
You make
but
it you make it sound like a
I
bad thing,
didn't
bro.
care for it in this fashion.
Bro, the elevator
Nah,
fucking
bro.
scene, my
Look, there
boy.
are good
Oh,
The
scenes. The
elevator
action's
scene.
good. I just didn't care
certified
for the
classic.
I
overall
swear,
package that it came in.
I swear to God, if you have Endgame in your top 3, I won't be
You will
mad
be fine.
because
I don't have
it
it in the
steals that
top three.
elevator scene. Oh, great! It's like top 5.
It is top 5.
Typical. Disgusting. Okay, so anyway, I'll just talk about it since one of us is sacrilege and not having it in the top
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
Or not even in the top 15 at all. Anyway, yeah, the action is fucking fantastic. It's a spy thriller, like you
Yeah.
said. It's like Mission Impossible
Mm-hmm.
with Marvel characters. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It succeeded very fucking well.
Mm-hmm. At
We
the time
have
of release, this was the tightest Marvel movie in terms of like pacing, action, everything. And it still
mhm.
holds up.
We get introduced to Falcon, and it's not done in a way where it's like, oh, they're just shoehorning in
Yeah.
another character.
That was
It
the most
felt like
impactful
real.
integration.
Yes, it was fucking incredible. And then it's like on your left, and where do we hear that shit afterward, where everybody hypes it up?
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn Endgame. There's like so many nods in Endgame to Winter Soldier that it just baffles me that some people have Endgame in their top 10, but not the Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier's overrated, like
This
I said.
movie
And then
was the quintessential Marvel movie for me. This movie made me care about a character I gave no shits about. Like, I went into this movie thinking, all right, well, it's Marvel. I like Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is really good. Avengers is really good. I don't think I watched Thor: The Dark World in theaters. But then it's
I
like,
don't blame
man,
you.
this movie, it realized Shield was shit and boring as a concept, and then did this, made them Hydra, like complete
Mm-hmm.
paradigm shift.
Some Order 66 type bullshit too, because most of
Exactly.
the Shield characters were like killed off.
Yeah, like following agents along with Agents of Shield, it also literally just made that show better too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't get how you I don't get how you call that shit overrated. I don't get how you don't have that
Yeah,
shit in your top 15.
I don't
But
know. Whatever.
you know, film is
that was like
subjective, so
a
it's
number
fine.
one, number two movie for me for like the longest time, and it still should be.
You, it should. I'm glad you said it. It still should be. You're right. All right. I can't believe that shit. The motherfucker said he's not on the top 15.
Honestly.
Okay, what's your number 5?
5 is Civil War.
Okay.
We already talked about Civil War.
Man,
So I
Captain
don't really have
America's
much more to say.
having Civil War in the top
I think
15
Civil
and
War
not
is a
Winter
lot better
Soldier.
than Winter Soldier in pretty
Oh
much
my
every
Out
way.
your fucking mind. Oh, you God.
Oh my god.
You know what? I respect your opinion. I respectfully disagree, but I respect
You
your opinion.
entertain this? Like,
Hey, bro, you know what? Kind of like we did with the Far From Home and the Homecoming conversation, which is moving along. Wait, Air, before I forget, what was your number 10?
my number 10 was Homecoming.
Yeah, he already,
King, what was your number
mine was
10?
also Homecoming.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, we're changing the topic because that bullshit ain't gonna stand.
Speaking of, I'll
Uh,
go on to my number 5. My
yes,
number 5,
sir.
No Way Home.
No, a home. Okay, fair.
Yeah. It just the best Spider-Man movie, one of the best Phase 4 movies, one of the best things the MCU's done.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll just because it's my number 1.
Oh, hey, spoiler,
But
me too. It's also my number 1.
nice.
Yeah.
Really.
I just loved everything about the movie. I watched it in Times Square, so that really did help my viewing experience and my overall experience with the movie. Everybody was cheering, everybody was clapping. When Andrew Garfield came on screen, I screamed around my wife, "Yo, that's Andrew!" And she's like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "No, I know my man's body. That's Andrew Garfield." And then it was just a fucking hyped event. Everybody was like in their Spider-Man shirts. Some people were like dressed up as Spider-Man. It was just overall excitement. And then walking out to Times Square and seeing where some of the shit was shot, it made it my number 1 for that reason. But I understand
Yeah.
number 5. If I had just seen it, because I saw it in Connecticut also. Connecticut was dead as fuck. Nobody cheered. They were like, "Oh, who's this
We
blind
had a lot of
doctor?"
in my theater. It was great.
And I was like, my wife did ask that, but I understand because she doesn't watch Marvel. But they were like, "Who's this?" And then they saw Andrew Garfield. Who's that? Why is he Spider Man? And they were like, they saw Tobey Maguire. Was like, wait, I thought he wasn't Spider Man anymore. So if that was my first experience, this shit wouldn't probably be my top 10 because that experience was dead as fuck. But since my first experience was Times Square and all that, it just made it that much more fantastic.
Mhm. Let me just clarify a bit. So like basically even like I was gonna say top 5, everything like top 6 and above is or has been like number 1 for me at some point. So like they're all like number 1 contenders. This is like a 5 or 6 way tie for me, honestly.
It's like 1A, 1B,
These are
1C.
very arbitrarily posted at this point. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor Strange for me is number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Number 3.
Air, you have number 3. I know King, you have it at number 13.
Yep.
But so we've already talked about it. There's no need to add more to the conversation. We liked the
Yep.
movie. It was great. King, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Endgame.
It's not even in my
I
top 25.
didn't think it
Is
would
my
be,
number 1.
Probably
but it's number 4 for me.
Air, is it?
Endgame and Infinity War, like, all right, I'm just gonna say, yeah, Endgame was the number 1, Infinity War was my number 2. Those two were just like peak theater experiences for me, and it's like No Way Home was almost there, and it was on the same level, but like the entire theater for Infinity War went quiet during that final scene, during like the final climax of Endgame. The entire theater quiet, and then like erupts. It's like it's a pinnacle of cinema, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. King, you want to talk about Endgame?
I don't.
Why is your
I
number 4?
just think that Endgame was it's not an amazing, it's not a perfect movie by any means, obviously, but I think that it just gave us the most satisfying conclusion possible to all of the hanging threads in the MCU. It was a good conclusion, like felt fairly logically put together in terms of plots. I mean, obviously we can debate endlessly the whole time travel shenanigans thing, but you can do that with like any movie, honestly, and it never gets resolved. I just think that it did everything it needed to do. Great conclusion, fucking portal scene, phenomenal.
Also, let me elaborate. Aside from all the hype stuff at the end, I also just am a sucker for time travel plots. So like, that's like that movie was made for me. I love that shit.
The next Mission Impossible involves time travel.
Let's go, man. If only, man.
Yeah, you-
That'd be so sick.
I I will agree with you guys. The overall theater experience was fantastic. Um, and I'm guess I'm being hypocritical because I put No Way Home as number one, but that's just because of my love for
I mean, I feel
Spider-Man.
like No Way Home had
But
just
for
as
me,
many, if not more, great theater moments compared to Endgame.
yeah, for me though, with Endgame, it just felt, and again, this is gonna sound weird, but it just felt like it was a bunch of fan service
I
and
think
just
for you, it might have
reliving.
felt like too intentional, too like constructed. I think I know what you're trying to go for, right?
Yeah,
And I
I
could
like.
get
Yeah, and I like how Thor was made fat. I was like, yo, representation. I like the fight scene at the end. I don't know. Something about it just didn't hit well for me. It probably is in my top 20. Um, I'm clearly being facetious when I'm saying it's not in my top, it's bottom five. But yeah, something about it just didn't make it in my top 10 or top 15. But to get what you guys are saying, great overall theater experience. It was like the culmination, like comic book nerd,
Yep.
casual nerd, non casual non nerd,
Yep.
family. Everybody just goes and watches it, and then everybody gets emotional at that one scene with the snapping of the fingers. No, I'm not talking about Iron Man. I'm talking about Incredible Hulk. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was just fantastic. I don't know. I have to maybe revisit my list and see where I would put it, but maybe bottom of the one of my last five in the 15, maybe
Yeah.
16. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
All right. Aaron, what's your number four?
My number 4 is Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, Anthony. We've already discussed
Like
it.
Ant-Man, Dark Strange, Shang-Chi, they're all just really fun origin stories, and I just love all of them.
They are though. This is the thing with Marvel. They sometimes do it really well,
Mhm.
and then sometimes they give us Captain Marvel.
Yeah, like I like the movie, but I not enough to talk about it.
All right, and we have King's number three would be Thor Ragnarok, and obviously we've already discussed
I
it.
didn't really mention anything, but I just think like
Uh,
Thor Ragnarok tends to be underrated as
oh,
well.
go ahead.
Underrated.
Yeah, because I
really?
think there's a lot of like depth to a lot of scenes in the movie that people just don't really grasp. People talk about the comedy a
Okay,
lot, and I think
that's
that's
fair.
like fair, but I feel like it's not the worst comedic Thor movie. But I also think like there's a very noticeable scene. It's the one where Odin dies. There's no comedy in that scene, like absolutely whatsoever. Like that movie knew when to be serious and when it could make a joke. And I think Love and Thunder had the opposite to issue a lot. Like it just didn't always keep a consistent tone. But yeah,
Kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Apparently, well, not apparently. He made news. Chris Hemsworth's gonna
yeah,
take a break
I
from
heard about
acting
that.
because he found, yeah, tragic. Hopefully, it's not.
Yeah, like just for people who hadn't heard, like he has a gene that makes him predisposed to a very high likelihood of developing Alzheimer's late in life. Obviously, this is something that would happen much later because I think he's only like in his late 30s, so you're looking at least another 30 plus years before this were to happen. But if he is to, I don't know what he can do in terms of treatment, but now is probably the time to do that. So he's taking a bit of a break from acting, which is very understandable.
Honestly, not much. It's just kind of
Yeah, you would know better than
it's
me.
something I learned. It's just something that you have to accept and deal with, and it just happens. Part of life.
Yeah.
Genetic. It's
Yeah.
genetic aging. It's like just age alone is the biggest risk factor actually, and then after that it's genetic. So it's just like you're just getting hit twice like that.
Damn. Well, I wish him well. He doesn't listen to shit, obviously. And hopefully, who knows? Maybe he does. Maybe Air's got that connection. But hopefully, when they're obviously gonna sign him off, if you will, like give him a giant send off like they did to Iron Man, because I don't think he's gonna want to be acting for a long time, given what he learned. So I hope when they do give him that giant send off, it's one of the greatest things that happens in Marvel.
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, King. Okay, so we have. What's your number two?
My number 2 is Infinity War.
Infinity. Wait, Ares, that's your number two too, also, right?
Yep.
Oh, nice. And your number one? Oh, you said No Way Home. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Oh yeah,
My bad.
so he and I both have the same number 1, 2, and 10.
Yeah.
No, he.
No,
Air has Air
I
has
have
Endgame as
Oh
number
shit!
one.
You two have it.
Okay.
No Way Home.
We were the ones with No Way Home at number 1. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
me and you had. Yeah.
See, I was trying to be a little
So
conservative with Spider-Man, so I was like, yeah, I'll put it at number 5. Recency, but it's.
yeah, my boy. Yeah, recency bias. Motherfucker has Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Wanda
That's
as
still not
number
that high,
12.
though, honestly.
I don't know, man. The Illuminati were utterly useless,
Yeah, but they were funny.
and they weren't even talking. They all got brutally murdered, which is hilarious for my
Yeah, that
wife.
was great. I've never seen that in a Marvel movie before.
Yeah, yeah, we have. We've
Where?
seen somebody brutally murdered.
When? Who?
Endgame. Thanos got his head chopped off.
Was it really brutal?
Okay. Whatever. Let's
Oh,
just move on.
yeah. No. Talk so because talk. Go ahead and continue the conversation. I got something to talk.
Huh?
What happened?
Okay, talk about No Way Home for a bit.
Oh yeah. Wait, we did.
I'll be quickly about No Way Home. No Way Home to me is still the Marvel movie where I can watch it and I'll still be like, man, I still can't believe how they made this movie. It just still feels unreal to me. I even went
Yeah.
back to the theater a couple of months ago to watch the re-release with all the additional footage, which admittedly was
Are they gonna throw that up on Disney Plus at some point? Like,
What?
I'm fucking jealous of you. I couldn't go.
I could have. It was like on a $5 Tuesday thing that I could have done, but I just didn't want to go
That's
alone.
fair.
So I
I
was
do.
like,
I go to the
I'll
movies
pass.
alone all the time, but like, I still can't believe like that they managed to make this movie. Like, to me, they did everything that I wanted and then some, which I think to me is the quintessential thing that makes a movie great. Is when it gives you either everything you want and then some, or just gives you so much stuff you didn't even realize you wanted, but like it creates
Yeah.
need. It fulfills needs you never knew you had.
Mhm.
Okay, well, breaking news. My wife has her 15 list. They're not in order, obviously, because she's more indecisive than you
I
guys.
wasn't indecisive. I finished the
So
shit weeks ago. Okay, a week ago,
fine,
but whatever.
fine.
I totally
I was
didn't
just,
finish my list an hour ago. What?
hey, if it makes you feel any better, Eric, she did it in 3 minutes, so don't feel bad. So her
Dude,
list
invite
includes
her to
Iron
talk
Man.
about it.
She doesn't want to talk about. She's shy. You want to talk? She said no, thank you. You could hear her in the
Barely
background.
even, yeah.
Okay, I'd argue probably number one because she loves Iron Man so much. Oh, never mind. No, it's not number one. So her
Oh,
15 include Iron Man, Marvel's The Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
Age of
Thor
Ultron.
Ragnarok, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Endgame, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Up until now,
I
you were
mean,
doing really good at following the unwritten rule of not mentioning Age of Ultron or Black Widow.
it's okay. It's okay. Look, bro. She likes Black Widow and Age of Ultron. We need diversity. We all didn't like it. You have a list similar to ours, but you mentioned Age of Ultron, so
Man.
Okay.
The list is ruined.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, so one thing that I did notice is that a lot of her movies in her top 15, obviously we don't know the rank, similar to ours, and I'm pretty sure, just like us, it'd be like ranked differently.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's a great thing about Marvel movies, that the different experiences could be ranked differently for people.
Yeah.
Something DC can't really say. Shame. So let's see if we could try to give our top 5 as a team,
Mhm.
right? So 2 of us have No Way Home as number 1, so I would argue that would be our number 1.
Yeah.
Sure.
Endgame, I'm sorry, Infinity War has 2 as number 2.
Yep.
So that would be number 2. Doctor Strange has 3 and 4.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here, because I wrote them all down.
Mhm.
Oh, I could just send you my list if you
Shang.
wanted.
Yeah.
No, I already have it. No worries. You fucked up. No, just kidding.
And you didn't ask.
So here's the thing: Captain America: The Winter Soldier. 2 of us have it in our top 10. 1 of us doesn't have it at all.
So what I'm hearing is it deserves number 3.
Number 3 or number 4? Because number 3 currently is Doctor Strange.
You know what? Fuck it. Just to spite King, it's going to number
Whatever.
3.
Okay, so we're at our number 5 would actually our number 5 would be Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm down with that.
Guardians of the Galaxy or Shang-Chi, because they're both ranked roughly the same. Shang-Chi
Yeah.
is
That's tough. You know what? We'll humor King on this one. We'll go Shang-Chi, right?
Do what you want. I really don't care.
King.
I was
This
not
is the
not thinking
team's
we were
top
gonna
10.
amalgamate our lists.
Me neither.
I'm just doing it because fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
Plus King's bullshit reasoning of not having Captain America, Winter Soldier in his
Whatever.
top fucking 10 pissed me off.
Oh man.
All right, so our top 5 as a group: Spider-Man: No Way Home at number 1,
Mm-hmm.
Avengers: Infinity War at number 2,
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange at number 3,
Yep.
Captain America: Winter Soldier at number 4. Fuck you, King.
Fine.
At number 5, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I respect that list.
That would be a good list. Not gonna lie to you, that'd be a good list.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that concludes our top 15 movies. Who did you agree with? Who did you disagree with, and why was it King?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments or in Discord.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys would love to know how full of shit they are.
My wife is laughing hysterically. I'm sorry. Anything else to add, guys? Should we do a DC one? No,
No,
I'm not.
Yeah,
There's
I
not
can
gonna be
name my
DC.
top
Yeah,
1 DC
I'll name
movies
like
of
the
all
2
time.
that I actually give a shit about.
DC really does make the movies of all time.
Okay, DC's shit. So my wife's number 1 movie is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Let's
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
go.
So there you go. Ant-Man.
Endgame.
Endgame is number 2.
Okay.
Okay, fair
I'm
enough.
down with that.
Yeah.
All right, they respect the list. Top 2 is respectable. um, in terms of DC, there's only like 2 movies that are good, and one of them's not even an actual theatrical cut because it was the Snyder cut.
What the fuck happened to Air?
Who left?
Uh,
Oh, I know what he did. Fucking
Oh.
idiot. I know what he did. He's a fucking idiot. Because I talked about the movie, he disconnected. The son of a bitch.
I didn't hear anything, man. I think I went into a tunnel or something.
Man of Steel, bro. Man of
No,
Steel.
it's
It's a good
not.
movie.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's not, but better than the other.
Better than some of the others.
I mean,
It's not
Yeah,
high.
yeah.
Man
not
of Steel.
high, like,
Aquaman is
bar.
not.
Yeah.
Aquaman is not good.
No,
It's
Aquaman's not.
Bruh.
Yeah, most DC movies
They
are
are.
trash. Oh, I actually enjoyed Black Adam more than most of the
Same.
DC movies.
Oh yeah,
Black
Black Adam's
Adam,
great.
Shazam is
Fucking
pretty
great.
good.
Shazam is
The
pretty
first
good.
Wonder
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Woman is
Shazam was
like
good.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's. I agree.
Thor, Captain
It
America.
was. It was a better Captain Marvel than
Yes,
Captain
it
Marvel
was.
was.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, other than that, there's not a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
There's one on HBO Max, but Eric doesn't like talking.
Oh wait, the Suicide Squad. That one was solid.
Oh yeah, the one that got James Gunn the position as DC's studio head.
Yeah.
You're right.
Not a movie
Yeah,
for
so yeah.
everyone though.
Yeah, so there you go. There's our list for DC. It's not that long. Should we? Oh, obviously we should wrap it up now. But do you guys want to do one for the shows of Marvel?
Now,
No.
Fair enough.
I
'Cause we all
enjoy
know.
them all until I don't. So like, I don't even know if I can rank them. Loki's good. That's about all I can say.
That's what I was saying. I was going to
I
say
haven't even
Loki's our
seen
number one,
half of them
obviously.
anyway, so
Eh.
Well, if you saw Doctor Strange, you basically
I saw
WandaVision.
WandaVision. I saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't.
I wanted to like Falcon the
I
Winter Soldier
saw
more.
She-Hulk, but that was it. And
That was
and
good.
I
I
saw
like that
What
one.
If we
Yeah.
count that.
I don't.
What if it was actually good?
Good moments.
No, I didn't like What If at all. I was saying like, what if the show was
No.
actually good? There you go. All right, King, your famous
All right,
outro.
people, thank you for listening to this totally off-topic podcast. We really appreciate it. The end of the year is coming up rapidly, and I think we're definitely going to have a couple more fun podcasts at the time, which we will definitely get back to you guys about later. But until then, as you noticed, Dav and Marissa were not here. They're probably just having fun on a Sunday. I don't know what the hell anyone else would do. Probably on Pokemon. I hear that the graphics for the game completely shit the bed, though. I don't know the details, but I've been seeing like a lot of weird screenshots.
It's not
But
the
it's-
graphics, it's the camera animations. That's kind
But they
of
look.
The camera. No,
There's something to do with
the
weird
camera-
Houndour like showing up randomly in the mountains or something. It was some. I don't know. Maybe
I haven't run into
don't know.
that yet, but maybe I'm just not far enough into
there's
the game.
there's definitely some
It's a
wacky
very
stuff
fun
going
game.
on. I don't have this game. Do you guys?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I've been playing
Okay,
it.
cool. All right. Well,
Yes.
on that note, guys, go play Pokemon. Hopefully, you don't encounter any of this weird shit. And until then, we will be back eventually. But until we are back, we hope you all have a great day.
Bye, guys.
See ya.